I think it's too zoomed out. I can't tell if we're recording or not. Yes, I
It
am.
says.
It is. Okay. Very cool. All right, everyone. Welcome to our team call. It is, I almost didn't know the date. That's embarrassing. It's November 11th. It's Veterans Day. It's Kellen's birthday. He'll probably make an appearance because how could he go a birthday without doing just that? I have a weird conglomerate of insights to give you guys tonight from something I participated in October. It was called Defrost Your Inbox. It was a challenge by a former Beachbody coach who's now kind of transformed herself into a social media coach. And it was interesting. I was going to invite everyone in, but it's free and it was 5 days. So I figured let's just see what it's like and I could steal the content. And I'm glad I didn't invite you all in. She's the girl who ran it was cool and she's like kick ass, but she's got the pottiest of potty mouths and she's kind of a hot mess. But her tips are great, but her content comes at you in a strange way. So I wanted to distill days 4 and 5 of the 5-day challenge for you guys today. And they're focusing on defrosting your inbox and using Instagram the way Instagram wants you to use it now to benefit us. So days 1 and 2 and 3 were really about just encouraging you to get more eyeballs on your content, which we all do. We are constantly adding friends. We're constantly adding followers. We are interacting with the followers of our followers and doing all those things. And that's what the first couple of days talked about. It also talked about the importance of getting on Instagram stories, which we've already are all doing. So making sure that you're using stories, make sure you're using Instagram lives, make sure that you're using all these other platforms. But it's after that point where it got pretty specific in how you can utilize those. And I really, really liked it. So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but her first, 3 tips were getting more eyeballs on your content, getting comfortable with video, and using stories as the real driver for your video. But in day 4, she talked about objections, overcoming objections, but she spent all of her time talking about how to utilize stories and how to utilize IGTV as a way to do this. And her goal is to confront the objection before it's an objection, to really pay attention to what the objections are. And we've had other trainings tell us this before, and use that content in our posts, talk to that. But she talked about it this way. She said, first off, women, especially if you're in her, defrost your inbox challenge, and if you're in our space, typically we are women marketing to women. Women are emotional buyers. If you've ever gone to buy a car with your husband, they're the ones that are sitting there and looking at the price, and they want to know the type of transmission and the oil that it utilizes and how many miles you're going to get per gallon. And we're like, how do the seats feel? Is it going to heat my tush? Can I see the kids if I turn around? How's the radio sound? We want the bells and whistles of comfort and luxury and experience. Basically things that are going to address our pain points. Men want the logic, the numbers, the features. They want to qualify this versus this. They want to compare and contrast and get all of that. Women are emotional buyers. Men are logical buyers, or as we like to call them, pains in the ass. But women are emotional buyers. And so if we continue to talk about the pleasure and pain points associated with what we're doing rather than the features, she insists that we're going to see less objection because people are going to be so into the pleasure part of it and relating to the pain part of it. They're not going to care how many dollars is it. They're not going to care how many videos there are. They're not going to care the logistics. That's a bonus. So she says you don't need to be showing every day like the same exact picture with like me and my Energize, but talk about what I was prior to that and what Energize does for me now. Talk about how, while I'm sitting here canceling all my subscriptions so I could save money to get a cleaning lady again, this is one I'm never going to cancel because of what it's done for me cleaning my own house or whatever it is, to really think about the emotion behind everything. So we're focusing on our problems. We're focusing on creating content that's going to show the pleasure that comes out of those pain points, but using video to do that as much as possible. So there are a couple of strategies that she suggests. One is stories series. She calls them, mini trainings. And I have a little graphic to show you that associates with that. It's a template for mini trainings to do in your stories. The second is IGTV. And then the third is an IGTV series. And all of these are going to work up to each other. I will get into what each of those looks like, but I want to give you some of the feedback that she was talking about algorithm-wise. And I apologize because my ulcer is just out of control. So I'm like a burping mess as I'm sitting here talking to you guys. It's so fun teaching high schoolers. And I'm like, excuse me, as I'm just like burping and other things in the middle of class. But anyway, stories. So we saw, and I've talked about this already with you guys, a shift, and this was the girl who actually explained the weird shift we saw for those couple of weeks in story views, how it was like booming one day and then like a major hit, and how our polls now, we're suddenly getting all these spam votes on polls and all of this. Instagram is struggling to eliminate bots from stories. So we're going to continue to see some oddness there. But regardless, Instagram is favoring Instagram stories and Instagram story users within their Instagram feed push. So if you are a user who's using Instagram stories, regardless of the interaction on your posts, especially because I don't know if you saw, it looks like as early as next week, they're going to start removing likes. So it'll start to roll out on Instagram as early as next week. We'll be able to see our own likes, but we will not be able to see anyone else's likes, which is kind of neat. So there will be no comparisonitis anymore, and I think that's really cool. But Instagram's going to still pay attention. They're going to pay attention to that, but what they're really going to pay attention is to the users who are using their platform for all its capabilities. Are you using Instagram stories? Are you using IGTV? And are you using what they're now creating, and some users have it, IGTV series, where within your Instagram IGTV account, you can create series, and then people can subscribe to the specific series within your IGTV, and they can get a notification for it. I've started to notice Danielle Natoni is doing Rise and Energize. I had my series for a while, and I did nothing of wealth with it because then I died of ulceritis. But like, I love this. This is so cool. So the way she talks us through this and how these all relate is to start with a story series and to get comfortable with doing that. And again, I'm going to give us tips for doing that. And then evolve that into an IGTV series. You set your pace, you set your schedule, but commit to it being consistent. And don't let go of the story series when you move into the IGTV series, but commit to doing both things. So here I'm going to show you the template. I'm going to share my screen. I just took her slide, her content from her one post, and I put it into a Canva doc. So this is hers. The English teacher in me must give credit. So here it is. I just created a little thing. So it's the mini training recipe. So she suggests you keep it consistent with the number of slides it is. So I was thinking about yesterday. Teresa took us through all of her meal prep, and it was awesome. But what we should try to do is when we're doing these mini trainings, keep it consistent so our audience knows how long to stick with us for. So they know exactly what they're going to be getting. And they know on Sundays, Teresa's going to walk them through a meal for 7 stories. They know that on Wednesdays, I'm going to walk them through my hydration tips for the week or whatever it is. But you're going to come up with a schedule. Maybe it's once a week, maybe it's twice a week, where they can count on seeing a story series that's a training of some kind from you. She suggests 7 slides approximately. Story number 1, you just introduce yourself. You tell them you want to introduce a tip. You tell them you're ready to do, you're going to kick off this series, and include some sort of a poll. And she says that these are important because it just adds the interaction. So even though you're still going to keep going, and slide 2 is going to make sure you have that content in there, if a person can't stick around and watch it, but they vote on your poll, you know that later on, or they know later on, you're going to go and follow up with them, be like, hey, Johnny, did you get to go through the rest of my story, right? Did you see the rest of the training? So just creating these little embedded interactions within is important. And the next slide, what she wants you to do is to introduce exactly what it is you're going to do and make it actionable and make it quick. Introduce it and start right away. In slides 3 through 5, you're going to do whatever it is you're showing them. Maybe Leslie's going to break down her carrot muffins. Maybe Jackie's going to do a craft with the kids. Whatever it is you're going to do, maybe it's a move of the day. Make sure it doesn't take more than 1 to 3 slides. So that's where it slides 3 to 5. That doesn't mean 3 to 5 additional stories. It means slide 3 of your series, maybe 4, and maybe 5. After that point, you're going to give one last final tip, a bonus tip, perhaps talk about how this has helped you or somebody else. And then in number 7, you're going to do another poll or maybe a question sticker, maybe one of those slidey things in which you ask them their thoughts on this. Do they want more information? Is this something that they would like you to do again? Would they like a follow-up? So on and so forth, whatever it is that you would like to do. There are a couple of tips she suggests for creating this beyond this template. And you guys can, I will post this document in Tribe, so you don't have to worry about writing it all down unless you already did. I can't see any of you. Number 1 is to focus the content on a group you are promoting. So if we are promoting a coaching sneak peek, then we're going to want to create mini trainings on how you focus your time and organize your calendar. Or maybe it's going to be how you actually use your ring light, or, and it doesn't matter, whatever it is you want to show. If it's how you organize Google Streak, you finally got it started. There are other people who might use that in their business. It doesn't have to be a Beachbody business, and we're still going to be teaching them something. If you're promoting a challenge group, maybe one day you want to do a move of the day, a couple of days later you want to walk them through a fixate recipe, a couple of days later you want to walk them through how to use Beachbody on demand, and now suddenly they're really engaged in your content. So you want to make sure your story trainings, your mini trainings, have to do with a group or some sort of process you're inviting to. And the next step is to have a form ready for interest. And I know we all have forms ready, but to have it focused and have it simplified, so if at the end of this series, not this one story, but if they go through a couple of the series that have to do with the same content, that you have that form ready where they can request information, and that's how you really focus in on who's worth your effort and who is not. Because if someone is not going to take the time to fill in the form, they're definitely not going to do what it takes to be a part of the group. They're probably not going to succeed. They're just not in that place right now. But if they take that step to fill in the form, then they are a recruit that's really potential customer, potential coach that we want to make sure we're focusing our time in. So I really liked that simple process. Am I going too fast? See, there's my poll. See what I did there? Okay, just ha, teacher here. All right, now the next step we want to do is we want to then start integrating this into Instagram TV. She said that now, beyond favoring Instagram stories, Instagram is also favoring users who utilize Instagram TV. IGTV is going to start showing up in our news feeds even more, and those who are using IGTV are showing up in news feeds even more. So to create a schedule that you can stick to in which you're using IGTV. Not every time you use it does it have to be a part of a story or a series, but you want to have specific and scheduled time in which your users, just like podcast listeners, can expect to see your face and to hear some sort of tip. Maybe every Monday it's going to be a craft with the kids or a kid-friendly food or something like that. And on Thursdays you're going to talk about your win of the week, or your your professional development takeaway of the week, or whatever it is. You want to walk them through something. And in there, when you start to gauge interest is when you can start to craft out your own series. What is your audience gravitating towards? That's the content you're going to start to curate. And you can also pay attention to how your story series are going. If there's ones that people really, really like, then maybe that's something you're going to translate into a larger series moving forward. But using these to inform one another, it'll help our Instagram growth. It'll help Instagram see that we're important. We're here to spend time on the platform. And then they're going to want people to be spending time with us because they know that those people then will spend more time on the platform. So it all benefits each other. It's really purposeful. It's really useful. And I liked that. So in essence, the main thoughts: pleasure versus pain, or pleasure and pain points versus just listing features. Women want to know, why is this nice and cushy and cozy and amazing? Men want to know the details. don't worry about the details. If we can find the objections people are giving to us and include those in our trainings, then we will have taught them out of those objections. They won't need to know, or they won't need to have those objections. As I'm sitting here saying this out loud, I'm thinking to myself right now, as people are starting to have their money issues, maybe we want to start talking about our budgeting tips in our stories. Here's how I am budgeting for Christmas this year. Here's how I am using coupons and Black Friday deals and whatever to create a value-driven Christmas for my family. And maybe start teaching them about how to save their own money in the process. And then now they're going to have some extra cash that they can use towards their challenge pack. You know, start thinking about those objections. If it's a time thing that people keep sending you, really focus in on how you plan your mornings, what your alarm clock looks like, that you had to grab an accountability friend to get your ass out of bed. You know, showing those things and actually talking them through it, but having a plan is really important. Using stories to create a series, using IGTV, and then using IGTV to create series, and hopefully our Instagrams are going to go just blow the F up. So that's the mission. That's the goal. That's it. That's my defrosting your inbox take for the day. I also want to say I took a leap today because I hadn't sent anything this week to my MailChimp account, and I sent them all the first 7 days of our gratitude journal prompts, and people are already sharing them. I don't ever really get much interaction like I do sometimes, and sometimes I don't. So just, I'm sure you girls do this, but just like your Instagram, if you're communicating with your email list every once in a while, it should be really like every third or fourth email should be related to fitness and coaching. Everything else should just be value driven and about whatever. And those are typically the ones that get the most engagement. So just keep that stuff in mind. Does anyone have any questions or any of their own thoughts? Okay. And then the action item for tonight is going to be 2 parts because one, get a plan, and the other one's going to be quick. I would like for everybody to send me within the next 24 hours a story series that they plan on putting out there. What day you're going to do it, what the content's going to be. You have 24 hours to come up with what your story series is. And then the next part of it, whenever you are watching this, whether it is now or it is a replay, I want you to message me with a top objection. I want to come up with a list and start to organize some overcomings of objections for the group. So you can text me those, you can post them on the comments of this if you're watching the replay, and we can start a dialogue going of how we can overcome objections. Perhaps other people are getting ones that we haven't seen before. Jackie is done. She texted me already. Leslie, you are slow. Just kidding. Leslie was the first one on the call.
I answered the easy question, objections, not my series.
I'm just kidding. All right, awesome. Well, that's that. You can't behave during the holidays. That's
Is
awesome.
that an objection or a confession?
I know, I wasn't sure. I love it.
Yeah, that's an objection.
All
I
right.
already know what Leslie needs to do a series on.
Yeah.
How to make your burger salad.
It's so how to make it pretty.
Yeah, I need that. Because when
And how to stop yourself at that many fries.
Okay.
I'm always like, how does she only have 4 fries?
Yeah.
Oh, this is.
I would love a series on how to make my food pretty because I do like eating pretty food. Normally I just slop it on. I'm like, ugh. But then when I like make it pretty, I'm like, oh, I want to eat this. I'm so happy.
You know what would be fun is if each of us do a series on how we meal prep, and then we put it all together in a video to show how we all do it differently because each of us does it completely differently.
Yeah, I was thinking about some sort of lunchbox series. I feel like people are always like, well, what do you actually